I think my screen is recording. Yes. Hey, hello everyone. Am I audible? Just very for the very first
Yes,
question.
yes,
Okay, cool. That sounds
yes.
good. Okay,
Yes,
that's
yes.
great. Happy to see a lot of people over here, and just want to make sure that you are accepting the invite. So I know that some of the people are getting the Google invite in their spam folder. So make sure you are accepting the invite so that you get all the notifications from Google Calendar at the very specific time, and you are able to join. You don't have to wait in the waiting area in this meeting. So that's the one thing. Okay. I think we have like a lot of other people as well, but not sure if they will be joining or not. Okay, so I'll quickly share my screen as well. Just give me a second. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, so now this whole session, right? This whole masterclass, Jetpack Compose masterclass, is being divided into 7 days, right? We will be like meeting regularly. Even though if you're not able to make it on a daily basis, it's completely fine. We are recording this session right now. Just make sure that yes, it is recording. The recording is on. So as soon as the session gets completed, I'll start uploading, and you will be getting the access. So yeah, so how we are going to make this session happen, right? What all steps we are going to do? So the very first thing, we will be meeting on a daily basis, 7 days at this time. Even though sometimes we can get take a poll or something like for a 9 p.m. or so, but that's the first thing, right? Second, we will be using couple of drawings, couple of code repositories as well, like, and you will be getting the repository access, so don't worry on that. Some people ask me like we didn't get the repository access and so forth. I don't have right now all your GitHub links, right? GitHub handles, so that's why I'm not able to provide it. But yeah, we will be sending you a quick short form or something like that, so that you can tell me what all your GitHub handles, so that we can able to give you the access on those things, right? Now one thing, I will be needing a lot of things from you guys. I know that I can understand that you will be on your day-to-day jobs, right? 9 to 5 and 9 to 9, and lot of other stuff. So you might not get time to create a project, right? This program is named as like a sprint, so that you are going to create a complete project. I'll be explaining you this project as well, like what you are going to create. That's also one thing, but I want to make sure how many of you just use the reaction like a thumb or something, that how many of you will be able to complete this single project on a 7 days, like a thumbs up. Will you be able to get some time, right? Just make sure. All I want is like take at least 1 hour a day and do this project, complete this project. Meanwhile we are in this session, ongoing session, so that we can also have a code reviews like regularly. And at the end of this session, right, on a day, or what's the date, 24th, right? So on 25th, you have a proper project with you, which you can directly put into your resume, show you to your HRs, multiple HRs, and start telling people, okay, this is what you have learned so far, and now this is, and you're really ready to take any job which is like highly required of Jetpack Compose, right? So I really want your 1 hour out of this session daily basis, so that you can create your projects, right? I know like some of the people can say that okay, we didn't get some time, and this, it's all just a 7 days, just 7 days, right? Yeah, Saurabh, anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like you said, how many people will be able to complete this? So my only question is, how many hours do you think per day is required to finish off this project?
1 hour a day, that's all. Apart from this session, 1 hour a day, it's max. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks.
Cool. So I don't want, like, we are not going to do any kind of fancy stuff. put this animation or that animation or make it fancy or make it MVI pattern or any other design pattern or something. No, nothing else, zero. It's just the Jetpack Compose, just the Jetpack Compose focus that okay, this is what I created, a specific UI, and this is really working. So that's the whole thing we are focused on. So that's all. That's why 1 hour a day for next 7 days, so total of 7 hours. That's all I need from you guys, right? And I am again hoping that you all are in the WhatsApp group so that whatever update we are sending, you will be getting properly. You all are getting emails properly. So please make sure, even if whenever you didn't not able to find anything, please first post in the group so that if anyone other else like just like today, Harminder helped a lot of us. So we get like a community kind of feeling, right? So yeah, these are all the basic stuff, right? Now what we will be doing right now, I'm like the only one person. We are also have like other master classes going on where like two of the people teaches, right? So that's where it's easy to handle the teaching and the chat section. So right now I'm the only one over here. So whatever questions you have, just put in the chat section. I will take a look after every, let's say, 20 minutes, right? So just to make sure. Yes, Manish. Anything? No worries. If you want to speak, just raise your hand. I'll open it, and else or you
Yeah,
use the chat
sure,
section. Cool, man. Cool.
Yeah,
So
just wanted to know one thing is that you are teaching Jetpack Compose to us. So it will cover all the interview questions related also.
we'll be talking about the interview questions as well, like at the end kind of thing. But I think like the way we are going to cover, it's automatically going to be covered as like a question as well. So you get an understanding once we start learning, you get an understanding, okay, what type of questions will be there. So we don't need any extra stuff, but if you want, you need a specific questions. We do have like we keep putting a lot of things on our website, even though you need something else. So do I'll keep sending like 10 to 20 questions a day in a group. That will help might be.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Cool, man. Okay. So the very first thing we'll start. We'll start with the project. I'll quickly show you the images, the screenshots. Only the screenshot I'm showing. I'm not showing the whole working thing, right? Yes, we are recording this session, so you will get this recording. So don't worry with that, right? We are recording. These are the like basic things. Okay. So I'm going to show you right now the screenshots of the screen of the application we are going to create over here, right? Now it's something is like if you want to add something extra feature, feel free to do it. It's completely fine, right? Don't wait for us that okay, this is what if this is what happens in this session, then only we are going to do this. Don't worry, wait for this. So I'll quickly explain you the application first, and then we will start with the learning process, right? You will be getting all these things in the repository, GitHub repository. Right now this repository has not been shared with anyone. No one has the access, so please don't get confused that you are not getting access and all those things. No one has the access right now. Once I get all your GitHub handles, I'll share a link of form. Once I get all the GitHub handle, I'll share it. So right now, don't worry. Okay, so let's quickly see the screenshots first. Yeah, I think we can use the chat section. We can use the chat section for the questions, right? So because we only have 2 hours, and we're already up with the 15 minutes, right? Okay, so quickly. The application we are going to create over here is named as Masterly, right? Masterly is the name, right? Now it's a basic application. It's kind of like a timer application. We are trying to cover all the like let's say a local storage. We are trying to cover coroutine scope, those kind of things as well. But we are not going deep into those things. Just trying to understand how those things are going to be integrated with our Jetpack Compose, so that we get an understanding. Okay, this is how a local storage thing can be used with the Jetpack Compose to show the data. This is how the coroutine scope can be used with the Jetpack Compose to show the data, those kind of stuff, right? So Masterly is the application. The name of the application is Masterly. This is what we are going to show. Whenever the application opens, it shows a list of some cards. It shows a list of cards. So the whole concept is basically 10,000 hours completion thing. There's a concept of 10,000 hours. Is anyone heard about the 10,000 hours? Just a quick reaction. Thumbs up, thumbs down. there's a kind of like a concept which a lot of people use for 10,000 hours. They understand that if they completed, they were able to complete anything for 10,000 hours, like in a break or something, then they will master that particular skill, right? So that's why this name is the masterly, and the hours is 10,000 hours. That is what we are going to what we can say track basically, right? So this application is going to track 10,000 hours for any different for multiple what we can say multiple skills for a particular user of that phone, right? Now what we can show, this is the kind of like a home screen, all the list will be over here, right? This is the kind of a card we are going to show on the home screen, the name, the arrows, the progress bar, this percentage thing, right? This is what we are going to show. Now inside each card, when we are going to click on that card, there would be a detail screen, right? A detail screen which shows all the like how many hours, quick logs, days, weeks, and those kind of stuff, right? It will be showing those things as well. If you want to create a new skill, we are going to let user tell that okay, this is you can select your skill duration, save the session when the user is like up with the time, and this is how a timer screen is going to look like, right? We can improve the design. It's all up to you, right? I'm giving you the idea, I'm giving you the basic stuff. You can improvise in whichever way you want, right? Just a timer with three buttons like play, pause, cancel kind of thing. And there will be other like settings screen where you can show that okay, if you want to take my pro what we can say subscription of this application, you can use, this is what all things you are going to get in the pro application of this version, right? And then there will be like a settings screen, all other features as well, right? Lot of things are there, push notification and these things. We are not going to build a push notification and all. The features are the example are over here, right? So it will like scalable. You can scale in whichever way you want. You can even integrate a payment integration, launch on Play Store, and start having a real user as well, right? And other examples like let's say voice note things and speech text recognition, those kind of things. So lot of features are there, right? But we are focusing on the major part. User can create a skill, user can track the timings, user can see that okay, the timer is working, user can see the understanding what all things are there. So this is what we are going to create. Now is there anyone, do you think that this project is really going to help you, and this is what you can build before the 2025 ends? A quick reaction is really help me to understand it, right? Is there anyone who is going to create their very first project, a side project? Is there anyone, or are we like completely dependent on our ongoing daily jobs only, right? So make sure you have this thing. Yeah, cool. That's really good to see. Okay, so now the learning part. I'm hoping that you have some kind of notes with you. If you want to take notes, if you want to just write it down somewhere, or any topics we are going to like talk about, so please feel free to bring those things, right? Okay, now the very first thing, how are we going to learn? This is our a basic code, a very initial stuff. Now quickly help me understand one more thing. So there are like two type of students, right now you all are students, I am also a student. So right now basically there are like two type of students. One who believe that we are going to learn a lot of things from here, right? We understand how the things are working, we understand the data flow, we understand a lot of theory. That's the one part of students, right? Let's try to learn first a lot of theory. There are second student who are just saying that okay, this is the app we are going to create, right? Just show me in the Android Studio how it can be created. Just show me the code, just do the coding, and we will see you writing code, and that's all. So who do you think that, like, if you are a student number one who needs to understand a lot more about this this diagrams and theory part, please do a thumbs up. If you are someone, so let's see the thumb one who wants to learn about those understanding, like what exactly it's happening below it, right? And is there anyone who is who is in this session just tell me, like just show me, just do the coding in front of me, and that's all? Is there anyone? Do we have those people who are just over here to just do the coding in front of me? Because that is something you can see on YouTube as well, right? There are a lot of videos. What I can do is like, okay, this is how the column has been created, this is how you can import, right? This is what you can already get in the YouTube, right? Then why to come on the masterclass, right? So this is why we are trying to focus to do things one by one, understand the concept, understand what exactly is happening inside it. Even though I can make sure that no one is going to ask in this detail in any of the interview. In any of the interview, no one is going to ask you that, let's say, like some of you, or maybe like I would say many of you have heard about the function called set content, right? We haven't started learning right now. I'm just giving an example that many of you have learned, listen this function called set content, right? Now in none of the interview you will get a question that how this set content works internally, or what exactly this set content is doing internally. So now help me answer this question. If no one is going to ask you like how the remember is working internally, how the set content is, what set content is doing internally, what exactly things are happening, then why do we need to learn? Anyone? Even though no one is going to ask you in any of the interview, no one, zero, then why do we need to learn?
Yes.
Because we should understand, what I think is that we should know what is happening behind the scenes.
Correct.
Especially means, suppose when means, I used to get stuck in some places where I used to Google a lot, Stack Overflow, debug the application, go ahead and then see, and it would be a minor mistake. But to avoid all the cross scenarios, most probably, as case scenarios we should be able to cover.
Correct. One more question I will ask you. It has nothing to do with the Jetpack Compose, but one question for everyone over here, right? So please listen to this carefully, very carefully. So then, like we all, like I'm assuming we all, like all of you are experienced developer, experienced engineer, right? Maybe if someone is fresher over here, they can also listen to this carefully. So in your engineering college, in our engineering colleges, we learn a lot of algorithms, right? We learn a lot of algorithms, we learn a lot of loops and ON and O1 and time complexity, space complexity, a lot of things we heard, right? But when we come to the regular job, no one is asking to those things. Is that right? Thumbs up if you think that this is the right thing, right? No one is asking those things. No one is asking, right? If no one is asking me that what type of like this set content or whatever loop or whatever the thing you are creating, is this a ON, is this a log n, or whatever it is, right? No one is asking me. Now the question over here is, if I can take an example, so there are like a lot of Kotlin function you must have used: contains, dot to list, dot to map, dot filter. Have you used all those collection function of Kotlin? Right, a lot of people has used. Now have you ever thought, or have you ever tried to see that what are those time complexities from those collection functions, right? What are those time complexity from those collection functions, and are we using those collection function blindly, or should we go with those regular for loops, or what? Have anyone tried to see the time complexities or space complexities before using any kind of Kotlin functions or any functions, basically? So this is why this whole example I have taken, because of this thing, because we never tried in our day-to-day job. We just use things directly, but we never get a chance to do all these things. We never get a chance. So this is why this session we are trying to see, like we can see things one by one. Right, we have a 7 days. Later on, if even a single person thinks that I need one more class, we can go for eighth day also. It's completely fine with me, right? The whole idea is to help you learn those specific things so that you can complete your project. That's the whole idea, right? Even though if you want like 8, 9, 10 days, completely fine with me, right? Now the idea now I guess all you have like your notebooks and everything. You all have understand like what application we are going to create, a masterly application. You will be getting repository access where all the screenshots, all the code and all the notes are also there, right? So you don't worry that okay, where will I get these diagrams and all those things, even though I'm posting these things on the LinkedIn and the Substack as well. But yeah, a couple of extra things are over here. So yeah, I'll quickly switch off my camera so that we can have a quick stuff. We can do things quickly and there will be no fluctuation or internet bandwidth issue, right? Okay, now the very first thing we will be learning about the set content function. We will be learning about set content function. But before that, jumping to the set content function, can anyone help me? Like, how many of you are learning the Jetpack Compose or doing the Jetpack Compose for the very first time? Very first time. Do we have those people? Like 1, 2, 3. For the very first time, like ever. Okay, do we have people those very first timer as well? Okay, no worries, man. Okay. What we can do is basically I'll quickly help you understand one thing. Like when it is coming to your, let me do this. I'll use this below section, right? I'll use this below section. I'll write things over here. Now, for the very first thing is when we used to do a lot of stuff with the XML, right? You always heard a term about, let's say, there is a layout hierarchy, right? Can anyone answer? I'll also keep asking questions, right? So if you are not able to answer, if you think that okay, this is a basic stuff but you're not able to answer, please be sure to write those questions. I'll quickly ask you one question. I'm not going to answer that. Whenever you are using those activity and fragments in your day-to-day life, there's a term called inflate. What does the term meaning? Inflate means, we always used to say there is a thing called inflate the layout, right? Inflate the layout. So do you know what does the inflate the layout means? Anyone?
Means expanding it like that on real time. Like tire, if you fill air, it will get bulged. Like that, UI will be occupying the screen when layout is inflated.
Okay, so basically,
Like converting the XML.
Okay, so all we are saying that we have an XML UI, we have an XML structure of code, and then we are saying that please inflate this layout on the screen. Please draw this UI on the screen. Please render this UI on the screen. That's all we are saying, right? Now, the idea over here is that that's the XML, right? That's the XML. But when it is coming to the compose, we have a composition, right? We have, let's say there is a thing called like compose, right? We have this compose. Now, for the compose, what we should say to bring the UI on the screen? We are not going to say inflate the layout. It's just a vocabulary understanding, right? It's just a vocabulary thing. Nothing like different meaning kind of thing, right? So all we can say over here, please Jetpack Compose, please compose my UI on the screen, right? Or anyone can say, please render my UI on the screen, please draw my UI on the screen. These are the vocabulary things. So whenever you get stuck with the vocabulary, please don't get think that okay, please don't get any kind of like doubtful thoughts, right? It's just everything is same. We are just creating a different UI on the screen. These are the stuff, right? And the interesting part, the XML The XML is more like, let's say, writing a proper letter kind of thing, right? I'll quickly, there's one hands up is over here. I'll quickly lower, you can raise it later on. Okay, so try to understand the difference in such a way, that let's say XML is more like writing a letter. I'm writing a letter specifically, okay, this is the box, this is how it looks, this is how it is going to be, and everything, one and one line, right? But with the compose, in the compose, it's just like, hey, I need a box, so a box is there, right? When someone is telling things from outside, and it keeps putting the things over here, it keeps sliding the things over here, it keeps, so I am hoping everyone heard about the Lego. Everyone heard about the Lego, right? So compose is more of like a Lego only. Lot of components, lot of stuff is over there. It just keep building one by one, removing one by one, and just adding things one by one, updating the whole stuff one by one, right? Everything dependent on the outside world. So this is how it's going to be. So you must have heard about a declarative. Anyone can quickly answer declarative. We have to cover a lot of topics today, but yeah, I'll also ask. Anyone heard about the term declarative? What's the declarative meaning in English, basically?
Means you declare what your UI should look like, and Compose already handled how to render it to the screen.
Okay, so if I say in a simple English manner kind of thing, a declarative is more of like declare the things. Declare the things, right? You just declare. Now with this declaration, I can do anything. I can make the UI. So now my UI is going to be dynamic because it's a declarative UI. Whenever you declare something that, okay, I need a text, so then only there will be a text box visible on the screen. If someone is declaring that I need a fab button, I need a floating action button, then there will be a floating action button. If someone declares that I need a green background, then the green background will come, right? So the whole compose system is a declarative system. The idea of the compose is basically everything on the screen is coming from some kind of data declaration, XML is more like you create XML files, you create your UI files, and then your UI will be there on the screen. And then later on, with using your Java, Kotlin, whatever language you want, you can tell, okay, this is what this data is going to be included in that particular UI component, right? But on the other side, compose is more like, I have this data, please draw a text. I have this data, please draw a button. So once you have the data, based on the data, you will keep declaring the data, you will keep declaring the UI on the screen. So that's why the declarative thing is coming over here, right? What's the other word? I think it's imperative, right? For the XML, I'm not sure right now. Imperative maybe, right? Okay, cool. Have you learned about derivation and integration in maths? Anyone remember the math class? Right? So we used to have something like this, equals to function of something. Is that right? We used to do those things. So for now, our UI thing, what we can say is, my UI is basically a function of a state. Even though we are not going to talk about state right away, but I'm just telling you that your UI. So this is what your declarative thing. Oops. What I can create is this. Okay. This is what you can say is like, this is the declarative definition. Your UI is basically a function of state, and based on that particular state, your UI is going to be there, right? So that's a quick formula of your declarative definition. Is till now, did you get things? Are you getting things till now? We're not talking about any kind of recomposition and anything right now, but just like basic stuff for now, right? Okay, cool. So I'll quickly jump to code again. Is the font visible? I think the font will be visible now. Okay, the font is visible. So the very first thing, earlier I am hoping like a lot of people know about the this XML thing, right? XML thing. So what we can do is like in the XML days we used to write code like this: set content view. Then we tell that okay, this is my layout file activity underscore main. Please use this my layout file because this is my XML file. This is where all my UI is going to put, right? This is my UI is going to look like, and this is what, so basically connecting the two different files, right? Now in the compose we are saying that there is a thing called set content. There is a thing called set content, which is more of like a entry point for my compose UI, right? This is my entry point for my compose UI. So we will be using this set content, and by the way, this is all has been so some of this part is written by me, this part written by me, this part written by me. But when you create your very first project, you will get a similar structure over here. You will get a similar structure just like this, right? So don't worry that what is this, we'll be talking those things as well, but you will be getting the same stuff, right? So coming to the set content part, now what this set content is happening, set content is doing, set content is basically your entry point for your compose view, right? Now now we need to understand what this set content is really doing internally, right? So let me take you to this flow diagram, or I can take you over here as well. This is more cleaner. Are you able to see the image, right? You're able to see the image. Okay. So I'll quickly explain one more thing. Before this compose and all, right? There is completely a view system, an Android view system, where our views is there on the screen, and there is a view system, there is a view classes which has been created by the Android only, and then they attach the UI inside that, right? That there's a complete UI view system. We are going to draw the UI over that. Now you understand about the set content view function, which takes your layout file and then inflate the layout on the screen, attach the layout on the screen, right? That's what set content view does. Now coming to the compose world, we have a set content function, right? But try to understand this set content view function is basically helping your all compose UI to bring on the screen. So it is going to be something like it is going to be create something like composition tree kind of structure on your screen, right? I made a term as like composition tree on the structure. So now whenever I will also ask you today, from today onwards, whenever you talk about the UI, whenever you see any UI, let's say this is my UI, this is my card, right? This is my skill card. Now for my skill card, I as an engineer, as an Android engineer, I want to see this card as a tree structure. Anyone knows about tree structure? It's like a basic coding stuff. It's basic software engineering, right? You all know about trees, right? Trees is like there's one and parent, child, and these kind of stuff, right? So you all know about. Now whenever you see any kind of UI, make sure you are seeing those things as a tree. You are seeing those three things as a tree. There is a complete card behind it, which is a black color. So maybe I can consider it as a parent, right? Then there is a JavaScript development name over there. Then there is a arrow button. Arrow button might be a sibling of it. Then there is some another button below this thing, right? Below this thing. So maybe it is a child of this, or maybe it is a sibling of this, right? So this is what I want. The homework number 1, right? Please do write this thing. Try to do this. It's going to be very interesting task, assignment, homework, whatever you name it. It's going to be very interesting. Pick any of your favorite application. Zomato, Blinkit, PayPal, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is. Just pick up any of your application, pick any specific UI card or a part or a feature or something, whichever you think you really like, and then try to draw a tree structure of it. Try to draw a tree structure of it, right? And see how things are looks to you, how things really looks to you. Quickly, one more question. Please do the thumbs up if you know this thing, or please do the thumbs up if you don't know this, right? So there is a thing called show layout bounds. How many of you don't know it? Please thumbs up. Show layout bounds in your developer options. You don't know it? Okay, no worries. I'll quickly try to show you. Okay, meanwhile this emulator is coming up. Emulator is coming up on the screen. I'll quickly tell you. Okay, it's basically what we can say. Oh yeah, the notification. This meeting is already here. Okay. So all you have to do, go to your settings. Developer option, is developer options on? Right, go to your developer options. You already know, right, how to go to the developer options by clicking 7 times on your build number. Then this function will come. There is a item called show layout bounds. Let me show you. Show layout bounds, and turn this on, so that you can make sure you can see the bounds of each and every item. You can see the bounds of each and every item, right? You can even see the bounds of, let's say, our masterly application, like how the bounds look like, right? How the bounds are over here. How many of you seen this show layout bounds for the very first time? Thumbs up, please. For the very first time? No worries, man. It's completely fine. So now I can make sure that you have really learned for something new definitely over here, right? Coming back to our tree part. Just a task, do this task, that try to create this tree structure of whichever feature you think good is, right? Just do this thing. Now coming back to our set content over here. Now what I want, composition tree we are talking about, right? Composition tree. So basically this set content is helping your compose UI to connect with the Android and telling that, okay, this is what the composition tree is coming. This is what a composition tree user want to draw on the screen, right? So based on that, we are understanding what is this set content basically doing, right? So rather than jumping to the diagram for now, let's see the code inside it. Let me show you the code inside over here. Do you know about window? Anyone? If anyone can switch on their mic and quickly speak about it, like what is this window, or maybe what is this decor view? Anyone?
Outer view of the mobile screen, the mobile whatever we are showing our emulator
Okay.
currently.
Cool. Okay, so basically the set content, what set content is basically doing, I am telling you right here in the code, I am telling you in a briefly part. Set content view is basically doing the set content view internally. The same we used to do with the XML. The same we used to do in the XML, the set content view. This is what set content is doing internally. It is just taking the composable, it is just taking your composables, it is just taking your compose UI and then telling the Android that, okay, this is the UI, please start drawing on the screen. That's all, right? That's all. But that's not the only part. I just told you, I just helped you understand in a very brief that set content view internally calls set content view, and rest is all same as XML, right? This is the one definition you can tell in any of your interview that, okay, this is what happens. But the very important thing is, right, what happens, there is like a 7 steps I can say you, 7 steps. So the very first thing is activity, your activity. I hope like you all know about the activity fragment and those kind of things, right? On create, I'm not going to repeat those things. So your activity is calling the set content, your on create is calling the set content, right? Set content internally doing some check. Set content internally doing some check that, hey Android, do you right now, do you have any kind of compose view with you or not? That's the first question it asks internally, right? If Android says that, okay, I already have some kind of compose view with me, you can use that thing, so it will reuse it. It will reuse it. If it is not there, it will create a new compose view, and then it will do the composition tree connection rendering, and then your composable, then your UI will come on the screen. Is this sounds good so far? Okay, cool. Now let's do it. Let's do this set content thing. Understand set content things one by one, right? Now the very first thing is, how did, for the very first time, if I am coming on the main activity for the very first time, and then it is checking, do you already have a compose view? Who created the already existing compose view? Do you get this question as well? When I just a couple of seconds back, I told you that the very first thing it does is it checks if you have the compose view or not. But why did Android has a compose view with itself? Why? Anyone?
Maybe the activity got restarted.
Correct. Activity is getting recreated. So whenever the activity gets recreated, they will quickly check that if do you have anything with you, any old hierarchy, do you have any old composition tree with you, do you have any older compose view with you? If you have those things, we will be going to use those. We will be going to use that same thing, and then we will use it. We will use it. If you know about, how many of you don't know about the recursive functions? Is there anyone? Okay, cool. We don't have anyone who don't understand the recursive function, right? So you can see over here, a recursive thing is happening over here, right? A recursive function is happening over here. Set content. Your recursive function is happening over here, and then your composition view hierarchy. Now you can understand from the tree structure, right? It will keep asking. Where is the diagram? Okay, it will keep asking, do you have anything? Okay, do you have anything? No, we don't have anything. Let's draw the very first thing. Let's draw it very first thing, and then your tree structure starts one by one, and everything come on the screen. That's the one thing, right? That's the one thing. Now there's one more thing. Right? Now you understand like why that reusing things is there, right? Now the important question here is, activity telling set content view, that is cool, but inside the set content view, if I go a little bit down over here, there are a lot of functions about the lifecycle owner, store owner, registry owner, right? Lot of things are there. Basically they are asking about the a life cycle. Do you have any kind of life cycle with you? View model, do you have any kind of view model with you? This state as well, do you have any kind of state basically try to understand right now as a bundle, right? Do you have any kind of data with you, right? So this is why it will keep saving a lot of things by itself. This is why it needs to hold, this is why Android needs to hold some kind of compose view, some kind of existing stuff, because when you are going to come back, when the activity is going to recreate it, then you are automatically going to get all the new things, all the older things automatically. You don't have to worry about that, okay, this is a new lifecycle owner, I need to change it, I need to do any kind of orientation change, handling and those kind of things. Everything is going to handle internally over here. Did you get this part? Okay, I think like 1% didn't get it, but yeah, we'll repeat, or maybe you can watch this thing again, but we'll cover this more things again, right? Okay, so now coming to some kind of like a default parameters, but I don't want to I'll quickly show you basic stuff about the okay, we missed the UI bit, right? So now so far whatever we have discussed, right? The same thing I'm going to show you over here in this diagram. Set content view, the very first thing, set content view. It is going to check is there any kind of compose view with me or not. If if I'll go quickly going down, if there is any existing compose view we have, then we are going to reuse it. We are going to tell that okay, this is the parent composition I have. Now from where the parent composition is coming from, those set owners, right? And then we are going to update the existing compose. We are going to update the existing composition hierarchy, and then it is done. Nothing new happens, right? It's just the existing stuff, all the existing stuff, right? But for the very first time, if user is coming over here, they need to create a new compose view. Android is doing everything, is happening over here is by Android only, so you don't have to worry about, or you don't have to create about anything. Zero. Creating the compose view, they create a new parent context, parent composition, right? They see your composable function. Based on your composition, based on the activity, it creates all the set owner helper functions, right? State, bundle, and those everything over there. And then again it will see is there any kind of life cycle existence or not, right? Life cycle management. Then we will see is there any kind of view model exist or not. Then again check if there is any kind of like bundle available or not. And after that it is going to call set content view. Set content view is by the existing one for your for your XML. So it is going to use the same stuff. And then you know about like there will be like a view tree, and a lot of things are going to happen internally which already happen for the XML stuff. So now you can see a very interesting thing over here. Earlier, everything when it was XML, everything is from here to here, from done, right? This is the only part. And on the top of it, they created a Jetpack compose. And just start doing the same thing. Now, can you say the set content is more like an abstraction for the XML set content view? Can you say this line? Anyone? I'll repeat this line. Can you say that set content is basically an abstraction over the top of set content view? Right? Cool. Now that you have a proper understanding about the set content view, so now you can always, whenever you do a set content, so you can make sure that how it is working, what exactly it is working, what all three parameters it is handling, and what all things it is checking internally, right? There's one more thing I can show you. Just let me find it where it is. Yeah, here it is. I have written. Are you able to see this window decor view and everything? Are you able to see this, right? Cool. So at the very top, in any activity, if you can see, we always have a window. Right? Window gives you the understanding about that, okay, all these status bar and bottom bars, and bottom bar is like the phone's bottom bar, those kind of things. And then there is a decor view, which is by Android itself, which is by Android view system, right? And then you can see over here one thing. We have a window. The line is too big, man. Let me just quickly. Okay, yeah. We have a window. We have the decor view. Android has it basically, right? And then this is something you must have seen a lot of places, right? Android.r.id.content. This is something your Android by default. So even though if no one is going to ask this thing, but the interesting one. What is the very default container Android has? Frame layout. Very default container. Frame layout. Android dot. And then your XML and compose things will start. Just like this. Decor view. And then there is a frame decor view. Then there is a frame layout. Decor view. This is a frame layout. Then your compose view and all your composition. No need to worry about these words, slot, nodes, UI tree. For now, it's completely fine. But now you get an understanding inside the decor view. You have the frame layouts and then your compose view and everything, right? So again, a very deep dive is the only thing you need to learn and understand is basically you have activity at the very top. Inside the activity, it has windows. It have decor view, right? After that, it has by default a frame layout, and then you give your compose view or maybe your set content, and then all your composable content is going to be there on the screen. Is this good with for everyone? Like, did you understand this part? Okay, can we say this line that compose is is not skipping the old view system. It is just kind of like a piggybacking kind of thing, right? It's just a piggybacking kind of thing. Okay, and also we can say more as like a UI engine. It's more of like a UI engine. So set content is more like a UI engine for your composable, whatever you are going to create over here, right? Now we are going to our another topic, which is we understand set content, compose, view activity, view tree. Though these three items we have done, right? Now we are starting with the gap buffer. Can we take a break of 2 minutes? I'll quickly bring my bottle. Cool, thanks man, thanks everyone. Okay. Anything anyone wants to say? I'll quickly check the chat section as well. We'll be starting with the gap buffer thing. Could you please explain one more time? So sorry man, I think we missed the topic or anything, but I'll explain at the end. I'll quickly brief things. So yeah, can you explain again the tree structure, what to do? All you have to do is like take any of your application, whichever your favorite application, and try to draw a tree kind of structure. So let's say if I have this card, then what is the tree structure of it? A parent at the top, and what are the childs, who all are the childs, who is the siblings, and those kind of things. Just a quick interesting homework, right? You can even use the show layout bounds to understand the bounds of the items, but it's going to somehow help you, right? Okay, anything else in the chat section? Does this mean compose uses views under the hood? Compose is not using the views directly, but it is using that set content view system to connect the composition at the very top level, at the root level, right? At the very root level, it is how it is creating. So basically with this Jetpack Compose, the Android doesn't have created the whole UI engine and the whole UI drawing experience. It's the rendering system and everything internally, it's the same. It's just the top layer is being changed, and then it is connected to the that root which was already existed. Other APIs provided by the Android to recompose the compose view differently if a compose view already exists. Didn't get this question, man. I have to read it again just.
So actually, you showed a flow chart, right? You said like if a compose view already exists, then it's basically going to use that. Let's say I want to do some customization and I don't want to use what previously exists, but I want to just recreate it. Is that possible? Like, are there APIs that exist today?
It's a recomposition.
Okay. Yeah, so that is allowed, right?
Correct. It's just like if you want to change a part of it, it's doable.
Okay, got it.
It's not going to do the whole rendering again and again. That's the beauty of the Jetpack Compose, right? We are not going to redraw the whole UI. This is something, if you have been using a recycler view, you must have seen a lot of these kind of issues.
Got it.
The whole life people are with the recycler view is like, we really need to recycle the views specifically so that we don't get those laggy stuff. But yeah, thanks man, thanks for asking this question. On a high level, will Jetpack Compose completely replace the XML approach, or still there are any limitations? No man, whatever I've seen so far, there's no limitations I've seen. But yeah, if there is anyone who is like extremely doing a lot of things in the custom view, they can answer this more. But yeah, whatever I've used so far, we created the system, we created the complete design system in the Compose and everything. So yeah, completely replacing. Both using canvas to draw the UI, but approach in the middle is different. Yeah, it's like the overall part is like a bit different how it is there. can we use XML and compose in the same file and why? But why do you need to use the both? Is there any rationale behind it? How compose is fast as compared to the XML? We have seen that is something we are going to see now. Okay. Now we are going to learn about a gap buffer. Anyone heard about the gap buffer before? Or is there anyone who is from different domain? Okay. Did anyone ever try to create their own text editor? We always used Notepad. Then it was Notepad plus plus. I'm just talking about back in my days. And then so how did we created that next text editors, right? Okay, so gap buffer is more of like a complete data structure in itself, right? It's another data structure. Another data structure, right? So basically this is what we are going to talk about. What is the gap buffer, why we are using it, and the benefit kind of thing. Now the question over here is basically firstly what is the gap buffer is. So the very first thing I would say, gap buffer is more of like a data structure which can help you to understand, right? Let's say, just taking this example, is this photo visible to you, like diagram, right? Visible. Okay, so let's say the whole idea of the gap buffer is basically just try to understand is an array only. There's an array, it's completely fine, right? There is an array, we used to array and add a lot of things, right? But when there is a gap, when there is a missing place, like empty space in the array, we name that empty space, section as in gap, right? We are naming it as a gap, right? Now why do we need a gap over here? It's just an array with a gap is known as a gap buffer, right? If I can move over here, now it is telling me there's a difference. Firstly, so it's basically the hello world is written over here, right? HELLO, then there is a space, THE, then the world is hello the world kind of thing is there, right? Now what they have done, they created some kind of gap over here. Gap as in empty spaces, empty indexes. That's the only gap, right? That's the only gap. And then they are trying to shift the gap. Try to see it as like this. Let me try to draw something. So you have a big array, you have a lot of indexes in it, right? Now this portion and this portion is the gap, and other portions are filled with some kind of data. Now if I want to shift this data over here, right, over here, I want to shift these two gaps over here, right? Shifting, you understand the shifting, right? So there must be some kind of other data structure or other patterns, or maybe some kind of lead code questions can help you understand like how to move these things. But over here, for our understanding, all we are understanding is like I'm shifting the gaps. How we are shifting the gaps? Now we have written hello space then there is a big gap over here, and then the world is still there where it is, right? We're just shifting we just shift this part, and now we just remove the part, this part we have removed, and this is what we got, hello and space and the world. It is not something we want to achieve. We're not trying to achieve this part. All we are understanding from this diagram is how the gap has been shifted over here. Now that you might not be understanding, or we're not understanding right now that how it is going to be used in the Jetpack Compose. But the only thing we need to understand right now is a gap buffer. What exactly a gap buffer is, right? I'll also share you quickly one more thing. There's a detailed blog is there. I'll quickly try to share you. You can read this later on. I'm just trying to show you over here. Maybe something it's been a long time now. Buffer, right? Yeah. I'm putting in the chat section. If anyone can please share the same thing in the group as well. Please do share this link in the group as well. So the same thing I have explained over here in this hello world example. There is a gap, right? There is a gap we have written, and it's kind of like a sample buffer over here. You can use this code and see understanding how it's working, right? All the same example over here, right? But with some extra stuff. Now, did we understand that there is a gap buffer? Right, there is a gap buffer, and how the gap is shifting and how the data is moving, and then we are achieving the structure altogether we need, right? Like I need a hello, I need a world like this, then I'm going to shift my gaps in different positions so that I can achieve what I need. Is this part is like understandable to you? We are up more with the an hour or so, but yeah, we have a few more topics left to cover. Okay, some people are saying that they didn't understand about the gap buffer, but yeah, you don't have to go in a very deep right now, right? We are not learning how to create a complete text editor by ourselves, right? All we need to understand, the logic is basically there's an array which has some gaps, and then if we keep moving those gaps, we can achieve our data in a different positions. We can achieve our data in a different positions at a different places and in a different structure we want. Right now the structure is HE and then everything is over here, but I want to structure my hello and world in this way. I can structure in this way, and I can keep this gap. Because I need this gap. Why I need this gap? To insert a new thing or to remove a old thing. So there is a right? This part I have removed. And this is what I have achieved. So I have to make sure that if I need to do the insertion and deletion, okay, let me ask you this thing. If you have an array and if you need to do a lot of deletion and insertion and then do this shifting, what is the time complexity? Anyone? Time complexity of any insertion and deletion of an array when you don't have an index specifically.
Complete.
Right. Now, if I'm saying over here that you have a gap in the array, you just have to shift the gap. In such a way, then you can remove those data and everything. Okay, what I can do is like I can give you a couple more example, like maybe tomorrow or something in class. But right now, this gap buffer, this data structure say us that okay, you whenever you want to do a kind of like insertion, deletion, or those kind of things, I will do the time complexity of O1. I'll do the time complexity of O1. That's what we are doing. And the interesting part is like even this gap moving thing is ON, but the whole insertion, deletion, and updation kind of our data, it's an O1, right? So I want you to do one thing later on. Try to read this block, and then we can see more how this gap buffer is like really helping us, right? We can chat more on those things, like is it like doing anything extra, or how this gap moving things is working really. But again, interesting point, no one is going to ask you about gap buffer, how it is working, how it really works internally in none of the interview, right? Now, but why do we need to understand a gap buffer? Because we need to understand the composition tree. Right? This one, we need to understand the composition tree. That's why we need to understand this gap buffer. Now it's coming to the slot table. Did you get at least a gist of what exactly this gap buffer is? Right, a basic of it. Because whenever you see any kind of editor, right, text editor or something, you keep writing things, you move spaces here and there, and then you just keep removing and adding things one by one, right? You just have to go at that particular place, remove this thing, and create whatever you want to create, right? Now, the very interesting part, with this gap buffer, with this whole feature where we can remove the gap here and there, insert the data, delete the data here and there, right? We have a thing called slot table. We have a thing called slot table, right? Now, how many of you have heard the word about this slot table before? Okay, okay. Some are there who already heard about it. Some are there who didn't heard about it. So basically, try to understand this slot table. This slot table, just like our gap buffer array. We have a gap buffer array just like this. Lot of things are there. Lot of things are there. Now try to do you know about atoms and molecules? Right? Atoms and molecules we all understand, right? Atom is like very smallest part, and then the group of atoms and molecules and those kind of things. So try to understand. This is my composition tree. This is my CT composition tree. Now inside my composition, what all things are there? Like it's let's take an example. We have at the very top. Just taking this example only. At the very top there is a screen group. At the very top there is a screen group. After that, someone has added a top navigation bar, a top F bar, right? Then someone has created a bottom navigation bar. So basically this bottom navigation bar and top nav bar are siblings, right? Now you can see the tree structure as well. Both are siblings, white color. Then there is a thing called like content group, like maybe some kind of container, relative layout, linear layout, column, box, whatever it is, someone has created. Inside that, someone put user profile, someone put some statistics, someone put some fab action bar or something, then someone put some text as a children of this, someone put some other thing, and there is a gap space so that we can fill more things later on, right? So similarly, with your tree structure, let me show you in this way. So you have a mobile, you have a image at the very top, you have a text over here, and then you have a button over here, right? So the similar way, your composition tree is basically some of your very top level, parent, maybe a column or linear layout, whatever you can say right now, right? And then you have an image, then you have a text, then you have some kind of empty spaces over here, and then you are putting your button. So I'll put some gap over here, a gap buffer. I'll put a gap buffer over here, GB. I'll put a gap buffer over here, and then I'll put a button. This gap buffer has nothing to do with this gap over here, this space over here, right? So just don't get misunderstand that this gap is basically a gap buffer. It's just a gap buffer we are putting over here, right? So this is how my composition tree looks like in an array, in a slot table. Array is in slot table. Internally composition, composer creates this kind of structure when they want to render the UI, when they want to render the Jetpack Compose composition tree on the screen. Did you get this so far? Okay, did you get the meaning of slot table, right? Just an array. Just try to understand it as an array which has a different items which are there, we can see on the screen, and they are getting structure like this. Now let's say if user is coming and saying that, hey, I want to click this button and I want to remove this thing. So the best internally what we can see is, as an engineer we can understand, user clicks on the button, I'll do some computation, I'll remove this from the tree. I'll do some computation, I'll remove this index. Completely, right? From an engineer perspective, from a tree, from a UI perspective, you can understand. User click on the button, you remove this, it's completely fine. But from an engineer perspective, as a table or an array or a visualization system, user click on the button, you go to this particular index, you remove this, you increase the gap, now you have a lot of gap available, right? So we are just moving the gap here and there and inserting and deleting the items so that my composition tree knows what all things I need to draw on the screen. Is that fine? Is this something you have learned today? Like, are you able to learn something, right? Okay, cool. Now the one thing I can say over here, right now it's 9:15, right? I have a couple more topics to help you explain, and then I need to go to the code as well to do some coding. So there might be, we can going to like stretch a bit, right? So I hope like you will take some time, right? You might be able to take some more extra time, right? Okay. So I'll quickly go back. I'll show you one more image, right? Just give me a sec. Where it is? I'm not talking about any stable keys or anything right now. But yeah, okay. Once we go back to the remember and everything, I'll talk more about those things. Okay. So now slot table. I'll switch back to the green. Slot table. Understand the slot table? What slot table is storing? Can anyone quickly answer? What slot table is storing? Slot table के अंदर क्या है? What is there inside a slot table?
All elements which we need to show on the screen.
All elements, all the elements, all the nodes from our UI tree which we need to render on the screen, right? Cool. How slots map to the composable? We'll see initial composition, recomposition. We'll see dirty slots, efficient. We'll see. Basically, this thing is something we already seen. Dirty slots, right? So basically, if I can show you again, if I can show you over here, you have this array, right? You have this slot table, and for this slot table, this is your mobile screen. There is a button. There is a text and there is a button. User clicks on the button, this get removed, right? So the initial thing was there is a tree, there is a text, it's really bad. There is a text, there is a button, user clicks on the button, right? And your text get removed. Earlier this is the gap buffer. Now after user clicks on the button, now listen to this part carefully. This so far I already explained, right? Now when user clicks on the button, this slot table is in the dirty state. This slot table is not in a synced state because the data has been changed. User clicked the button, some kind of data has been changed, some kind of data has been already changed. So this is a dirty slot table, and then the slot table remove this part, increase the gap, fix the gap, and the data and the slot table is now in a synced state. Then we can say that the slot table is no more dirty, right? So just don't get confused with the terms again, please. You already understand dirty slots. And how it is efficiently updating is something we can see in the remember part, right? So we have covered this thing as well, right? We have got this thing as well. Now we are going to come to the remember, but I think before coming to the remember and everything, we should go to the code and try to create something first, right? Now there is two options we have. One, I'll try to create all this thing again and again by typing and showing you the thing. That's the one thing we can do, or I can directly do the coding part. There is no this again, one more thing. This application, the code you have you are seeing in the front of you, it's completely non-working code. It's completely non-working code. It's just the basic I have created. I have not created the complete application so far, right? All this application all has is these things. Nothing is working. I'll be building with you only, right? But right now the basic UI things I have in front of you. So do you want me to code this thing again and again, because this is going to take a lot of time, or should I quickly explain you things one by one directly? Thumbs up if you want me to write the code.
Explain it in high level, Akshay.
Yeah, we will be explaining part is good, but I think writing is going to take a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
That is something again like watching an Udemy course or something.
Yeah, it's only possible in shortcut.
Correct. Quickly. Okay, so I go to few things. I'll try to cover some basic stuff, right? I'll try to cover some basic stuff over here. basics, right? I'll try to cover a few of the basic things as well. So basics. I also want you to reply quickly on those things, on these things as well, right? So if you want, you can keep your mic on. So what's the very first thing we understand about the set content? That is fine, right? Very first thing, what do you understand from a layout container? Containers, layout containers or a container. What do you understand from that? Anyone?
How you keep elements, view elements, how you are keeping order.
Correct. So basically, there are couple of containers we have, right? One is basically a column container. A column container in which whatever you are going to put, it is going to be in a column fashion. Is that right? Do we understand this thing? A column container is basically a container which contains all the items in a column fashion. Similarly, there is another container in which if you want to keep items in a horizontal manner, what do you call this container? Row container. It's a row container. Now, one more thing. If you want to put items more like this, there is a card over here, there is a card over here, there is a card over here. If you want to create things like this, what is the container? What is this container?
Box.
It's a box. Why it is a box?
We can arrange it anywhere.
We are
Yeah,
arranging
we
the
can
items.
On top of,
We are arranging the
any of the
items
containers.
on top of
Any
each
of the
other.
composables.
Correct. It's a T1, and on the top of T1 there is a T2. So if we are going to arrange items on top of each other, then it is a box. In a row, it's a row. In a column, it is a column. Right? These are the three containers. Is there any questions in the containers?
When you say that these are the three containers, are these like APIs on Compose side?
APIs in
Like,
these are the functions. These are the functions which can help us to arrange the
Create.
elements.
Layout.
Okay.
Elements.
Akshay, I have one doubt. So
Mhm.
these containers are using under the hood XMLs, right?
Sorry.
These containers are using under the hood XML.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No. XML part is only there till set content, attaching the roots. That's all. There is no compose after that. There is no XML after that. There is no
Okay, got
XML
it.
after that. Right. Okay. So now we have a basic understanding of compose columns, containers, column, row, and boxes. Right. So yeah, the box can handle both row and column, but you have to do it. The compose is not going to do it. These containers are from Compose APIs. These containers are from Compose API. There are some other containers as well. Like scaffold. Have you heard the word scaffold? Not sure what's the example. It's like scaffold. We have seen over here. Scaffold. Make sure you have an understanding. Column, row, box is given by Compose API. Scaffold is given by Material API. Scaffold is not directly a part of Compose API. Scaffold is a part of Material API, right? So why do we need a scaffold API? So now that we have a very core stuff, now that we have a very raw stuff, column, row, boxes, we have to create an application. A UI where there is a top app bar, where there is a bottom app bar, where there is a floating action button, and where there is a status bar on top, and there is a lot of things. Are you going to create this thing? You will be able to create this whole UI with row, column, boxes. That is correct, right? That is correct.
Yes.
You can create, but material people are saying, why you are going to waste a lot of time? Just create. I am going to give you a template. You can use that template directly, right? So that's why this scaffold, which is by the Material 3 API, Compose only like but Material 3 API, but Material 3 API, it is telling us, I am going to give you a template. You don't have to worry about that. You say top app bar, I'll create the top app bar, I'll place your top app bar at the top app bar. Wherever the top app bar should come. I'll create a floating action button, I'll create the container color, I'll create the bottom navigation and everything. So that is something a template kind of thing. So don't get misunderstand between containers, between UI container and the templates, right? So don't get confused in these things. Okay, coming to this over here, I'll quickly take you to the home screen. Okay. Okay, let's do things over here only for now, right? Let's do things over, but you will not be getting any preview over now. Let me do it over here so that I can quickly help you explain things. You already have an understanding now that you already have an understanding about the column, row and boxes, right? So I'll switch this. I'll quickly show you column, row, boxes as well, right? Because we do have a people who are really very first time with the compose, so it's better to do a quick thing with them. So it's a column, right? It's a column. Now what we have heard right now, that whatever we are going to arrange inside a column is going to be in a column fashion, right? Now I want to create any kind of a text, a button or anything, I can use those functions directly. Where I will be getting these functions, I will be getting this function under the compose API, right? All these components are available here, over here. Tooltip, text, tab, switch, slide bar, snack bar, search bar, right? Navigation item, menu, label, list item, icon button, chip, all checkboxes, everything is over here. All the components, all the basic components will be available in the compose. It's in the compose, right? It's in the material 3, sorry. It's in the material 3 API. All the components are available, right? All the components are available. All you have to do is just call the function. Now, one important thing. Whenever you are going to use, so quick question. How many of you read the documentation regularly? Right, so there are like a couple of people, some are saying no as well. Do read, whenever you are going to use anything new, make sure you are understanding their documentation, you are learning their documentation, learning as not mugging up or so, just trying to understand what all things they take, what all parameters they are asking for, what all arguments they are asking for. So just to make sure. Now the text is asking me for, let's say, a home screen. A quick question, what does this mean? Whenever I am writing this kind of stuff in any of the Kotlin function, what does this mean? Quick question, nothing to do with the Jetpack compose, but yeah, something I want to ask quickly.
Lambda, commit initialization.
Sorry?
Your assigning value to the arguments.
Yeah, named parameter. Name parameter, right? Name parameter. So I just created a text, I just created a column. So let's say home screen or some screen over here, right? Let's say search or let's say settings, right? Now I want to see this on the screen. I want to see a preview of the screen. Now in the XML, you know that, okay, whenever we are going to create UI, we can see a preview of those things. Right? But here there are the whole compose Jetpack compose thing is based on the annotation system. So we are going to use a lot of annotations, and based on that we can make sure that everything is working perfectly fine or not. So right. So what we did, we created a simple function. Just named as a home screen preview, and then call my composable function. Now what is this composable annotation? For the very first thing, do you all know about suspend function? Is there anyone who doesn't know about suspend function? Okay. Similarly, this whole annotation system, annotation processing. Now, annotation processing is basically, let's say I'm writing any kind of code and I want to tell something. I want to tell compiler that, okay, whenever someone use this thing, you please understand that part in some manner, right? So I'm saying that I'm going to create a UI. And my function name is home screen. But how my compiler is going to identify that this is a UI function? This is the function which Jetpack Compose need to draw that whole composition tree and those kind of things, right? So that's where Jetpack Compose people has created this composable annotation. Now whenever you are going to use any kind of annotation, you will see a lot of these kind of things, right? These are just a way target to tell that where all an annotation can be applied, कहाँ पर annotations को use किया जा सकता है, where all these annotations can be used, right? So function, type parameter, property getter, so these are the 4 places where you can use these annotations, right? So I created this annotation, I put this annotation over here so that my compiler knows that this is the UI function. Similarly, there is a annotation called preview. So if you put a preview over here, you will be start getting previews on the screen. And then second homework for you to explore these items. This annotation takes a lot of parameter. These annotations takes a lot of parameter, so try to change values and pass some different values and see how your preview is going to look like, right? Let's say if I say show background true, if I say show system UI true, right, my phone is coming, my background is coming, so there are a lot of parameters. So I will suggest try each and every parameter properly and see what all difference are going to come, right? So this is what an annotation is, right? And this is why I am getting a preview over here. Now coming back to the column, all 3 texts in a column, you can see they are arranged in a column. Is this fine? If I put a row, they are arranged in a row fashion. Is this right? If I say a box, they are arranged on top of each other. So this is why a container is required to arrange all the items in their proper places, right? Yes, Harsh.
What is the order for the box one? Like first come first serve basis?
I think so the very below thing is going to be on the top. So let me show you this way, and maybe something like this.
Seems like a frame layout pretty much.
Correct. So I think Harsh, what happening over here is, so what you can see is like, so whichever the item is on the very basically first come first serve kind of thing, whichever is the very bottom is basically at the very top. So in the frame layout, similarly what we do is, right, if I can show you like this, right? So whichever thing is at the very top, it's basically on the bottom, like leaf hoya, last and first round item.
Good.
Okay, so now that we have all the three items, right? All the 3 items. Similarly, you have linear layout, and inside the linear layout you mention those orientations, horizontal and vertical, right? And then you have a relative layout in which you have to do a lot of relation management system, right? And then you have a constant layout. So all those things here, everything can be done using row, column, boxes. That's all, right? Now a quick understanding. Someone said that we can create things with the column, row, boxes as well, right? You can do, if you see a column over here, it asks for two interesting parameters: alignment, right? Alignment and arrangement. It is just telling us, like, we get an understanding that you want to arrange these items in a column fashion. That is fine, right? But how do you want to arrange, in a center or the end, or what is the horizontal alignment of it? Is it like centrally aligned? Is this like this, or is this something let's say, is this like this? Like, so based on that you can do the aligning thing. And if I talk about the vertical part, so right now I think vertical might not work. So what I can do over here is, in one thing I can give a try. that show system UI true is basically I'm taking the I'm trying to show you on the full mobile screen experience. I am going to use one more modifier thing. Right now we don't ever know about modifier, we didn't talk about it, so it's completely fine for now. So coming back to the vertical part, vertical arrangement is like a center. If I say it as a center, it is going to come on the center of the screen. It is going to come on the center of the screen, right? It is going to come on the center of the screen. If I say bottom, will it come? It is coming at the bottom of the screen. It is coming at the bottom of the screen, right? So basically now you get an understanding of the vertical alignment, horizontal alignment. As much as you give it a try to this, you will get more experience, like understanding that okay, where to arrange what item, right? So similarly you have a row. Now they are getting, now because of the English, right, row can't have a horizontal alignment, row can have a horizontal arrangement. It's not an alignment, right? And row can have a vertical alignment because it's an alignment thing, right? So similarly you can change variables, you can see changing stuff in the row column, and you can see the similar stuff in the box as well, right? So this is how the containers are going to look like. This is what a container is going to look like. Now I'll quickly explain the modifier thing as well, right? Just try to, okay, let's remove all this thing. Okay, now the modifier thing. Now in your XML, you do a lot of beautifying things, right? This is my background color, this is my margin, this is my padding, this is where it is going to go for a wrap parent, match content, and wrap content and match parent and those kind of things. All the properties of that particular item with the surrounding or that particular component. Over here we are going to use modifier. So that's why they have created a modifier that okay, let's say my text is going to take a lot of parameters which is only for the text. Is this correct, right? Text color, text font size, text style, everything about the text. But if I want to tell that this text should be let me remove this system UI so that now I want to say that this text should have some kind of upper margin of 8 dp. Then how can I tell text is not taking any kind of parameter, right? So because of those things, any kind of beautifying things around it, in respect to around it, right, we are going to use a modifier. There is a proper notes, the complete notes we have written about the modifier, that how it is working and how it is not working. All those items like graphs, things are also I will share. But right now, just for a basic understanding, all we are understanding, the modifier is basically your what we can say, an interface or something which is being used by everyone internally. If I can show you for the text. I think it's basic text maybe. Okay, anyways, so modifier is basically, it has a lot of other internal properties. So what I can do, I can pass a modifier to a component. And I can use modifier in different places. There's a lot of parameter. Fill max size again, it's more of like your match parent, right? Your padding, background height, clipping, animation, blur, border, clicking, composition, dragging, draw behind this one, right? Graphics layer, horizontal, IME is also an important thing. So all those properties and everything are there in the modifier, right? All I need a padding of 16 dp from all the sides. So I am getting 16 dp padding from all the sides. Now also compose doesn't have anything called margin. Everything is just padding, right? Padding around it, padding from outside stuff, right? So that's the only thing you will be getting. You will not be getting any kind of margin and padding difference. You don't have to worry about okay, do I need to give a margin or do I need to give a padding? everything is padding, and everything in and also spaces are there. Also space, there's a component of space as well. Yes, Manju.
Are you sure there is no margin in Compose? Because if you use layout is being included in Compose. So when you define the constraint with the relative siblings or parent, there is an margin attached to it. I mean, not directly with the modifier, but with the links.
So we are talking about the when we are going to use the box with constraints, right?
Constraint layout.
Constraint layout. You can use constraint layout in Jetpack Compose,
Correct.
and when you link the constraints, there is margin component, but margin is not directly with the modifier, but with the constraints.
Got it. So constraint. Okay, so the very first thing is constraint. For the constraint layout in the Compose is completely a different API. So that's why right now it is not coming. It's you need to bring from outside world, right? That's the one thing. There, it's more correct.
You need to include it as a Gradle implementation. That's not part of the vanilla Compose release, but it comes as a different. But yes, that comes with margins, but it's part of Google's Compose separate release.
Correct. So we can say that in general the margin system is not available, but when it is coming, when we are completely talking about constraints and all, margin and padding has a different meanings, right? Got it.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Thanks for this info. Okay, so now that we have an understanding about the paddings and margins, that how it is going to be connected, can you say with just whatever understanding we have so far, the containers, the components, basic stuff, right? The way we have created the text over here, will you be able to at least create this card design? We have the basic understanding of how the container are there, how the components are there, everything is text over here. Even though progress is there, but again, if you don't want completely miss this out, with this understanding, row, column, boxes, right? Will you be able to create, right? So yes, Saurabh, saying something.
Yeah, I had a general question. I noticed that you were directly hard coding the DP values. Can we use do we use resource directory in this, or do we refer to it, or do we just hard code?
Yes, we will be coming about those files as well, like how to use those resources files. But yeah, just a basic understanding for now. We'll be coming to this.
Okay.
Cool. Someone is there. Yeah, yes, Manish.
Yeah, hi Akshay, can you please go to the UI part of the card?
Sorry.
UI part of the card. Yes. So I have just one question: is that how the JavaScript development has been connected with the icon arrow?
It's a row.
So, for example, in the constraint layout, we know that how these both elements has been connected with each other. So in Compose, how can we get to know that these components are getting connected with each other? If the visibility of the icon has been gone, then the JavaScript development has taken the space in between.
No. That's why so basically we have learned two things: containers, and then those alignments and arrangements, right? So if you see a container over here, which container do you see over here? Which container do you see?
It's a row.
It's a row, right? And then which alignment do you see? Or which arrangement do you see?
It's horizontal.
No, it's the arrangement is horizontal. So, okay, I'll quickly show you this one more thing. So when we are talking about arrangements, over here, those are not just center, top and bottom and those kind of, we have seen, right? We have seen center, top and alignment, those things, right? There are something called space evenly, space around, space between, right? So with those kind of things, you can make sure that you need some space between the two components, and that's why this is on the start and this one is on the end of the row, right? So that's where you can explore. That's why I'm saying try to explore these things, right? Because they have a lot of variables are there: top and bottom, start, center align, center horizontally, those kind of things. So that's where we can explore these more parts. So there is no need to worry about those connection stuff, right? How it is, how one thing is being connected to another. All we need to try is, can we use those existing containers, column, row, boxes, and create our stuff, right? Okay. So there are like a couple of more people who raise their hand. We'll take the questions. I think we are like really going up with the time, and I do still have 2 more important topics to cover. I'll try to go quickly and then we'll take the questions. Okay, so what's the next? Okay, the next part over here, I'll quickly try to, so we'll be jumping now to the remember topic, right? So what we say, we create something very basic stuff. There is a text, there is a variable, a counter variable, which is basically a 0, and this text count value is, so count value is a counter, right? A count value is counter, and then we have a button component. Let's see inside the button component. Now inside the button component we have variables like on click, modifier, enable, shape, colors, lot of things. Everything for the button specifically, right? Now in the button, what I can do, there is a function called on click. What is this? Can anyone, if anyone can, what type of function it is?
Lambda function.
Lambda. Now you can see the value also, you can see the preview also. There is a text, counter value is 0, and then we have a button. Whenever the person is going to click, we are going to increase the counter. I know, like, if someone already learned the compose, they can see it's like a standard example for understanding for learning the recomposition. But yeah, that's a quick one.
It's an IR or lambda function attached to the button where it can mutate the state action events.
Sorry. Is this? Yeah. Can you repeat that last part?
Yeah. So it's exactly the listener what we attach in our view system.
Correct. Yes. Correct. So whatever we used to do earlier, like set on click listener and then do this particular function, similarly we are saying that, hey, you need an on click thing. I am telling you that this is what you need to do. All you need to do is whenever user click, increase the counter. Now one more thing, my button is asking me for a content, asking me for a composable function, and it is asking me for a row scope type of thing. So what is this? I'm not asking a question about row scope. I'm just asking from this type of variable, this type of lambda, or this type of argument, what does this mean?
So that's the
extension function.
Extension function, is it?
It demands a composable. It's requires a composable.
Composable, it's fine. It's a composable function, that is fine. But why they have written this way? They can simply do this thing also, right? We used to do this thing. Then what is this dot stuff means over here?
Okay.
I can show you quickly. It's an interface. Then what is a interface is doing in a lambda?
It's calling the function.
Okay, give it a try and see what an interface is doing in a lambda and how can you use it, and if you want to create something of your own, then how will you structure this kind of thing. All I can quickly explain you over here is, I'll go to the drawing part.
Akshay, maybe
It's part of the rules of interface.
you can call this function from the row scope, maybe.
No, row scope is completely fine. I'm not asking about the row scope or column scope. Scope is completely different thing. Just a what I can say, a Kotlin question, that why an interface is named over here. But yeah, okay. You can check this once again. So the whole idea is, so let's say my composer, whoever has created a button, whoever has created a button is saying me that, hey, you can pass a composable content in me. You can pass a composable content in me, like a text, a button, or whatever you want to pass, you can pass inside me. But whatever you are going to pass are going to be in a row scope. Row scope as in whatever you are going to put inside it, it's going to be arranged in a row only. Is this line, did you understand? Did you understand this line? Whatever you are going to put inside me, it's going to be in a row thing only. You can see, click me, click me, click me. No one is a column. So by default, I'm not giving any parent over here. By default, I'm not giving any container over here. So by default, by default is the row scope, means the row is the main idea over here, right? Now let's try to run this app quickly.
So example, like your leading and trailing icon between the text. So that's why it's row scope, because that's how the design systems think of a button, right?
Correct. Like how the data is going to be look like on the screen. So I have a click button over here. I have a text, but our background color is different. So let me just change the font color. Font color, right? Is there any font color? No. Is there any color? We do have a color. Can we use, let's say, a green color, a comma, and name anyone, like, see any error? What's the error? It's basically a named parameter error. So you have to name it always. You can't like just go with a single one thing. Okay, so now the important thing over here is, all we say is, whenever user click on the item, please increase the counter and then show it in the green color, the counter value. But my counter value is not increasing. What's the reason? What's the reason? The UI is not updating, right? The UI is not updating on the screen. Now, how do I tell
line number
a UI
38
to
every time getting initiated in recompose?
Correct. So from here we can learn. That I have a slot table. I created a text. I created a button and there is one more item which is now known as a counter variable, which value is 0, and user keep clicking on this, but this value is not updating. This value is not updating, and that's why if it is not updating, that's why my text is not increasing. That's why text is not coming on the screen, right? Is that right? Right. So I need some way, I need a system so that my counter value keeps increasing. But before that, can I test one thing? That my counter value is counter. I'm just putting a log over here, right? I'm just putting a log over here. Okay, my counter value is 0. I keep clicking, nothing is happening. My println is also not working. I shift my println after increasing, and when user clicks, let me try again. My value is increasing. Now I can see my value is increasing. So basically my counter is increasing. My counter is really increasing, right? But the value on the UI is not getting updated. Even though the value has been changed. Now, what problem do you see in this slot table? The value is updating. When user is clicking the button, I can show you why. When user is clicking the button, right, the counter value has been updating, but the text is not updating. Why? What do you see any kind of problem in this slot table?
So it's not recomposing the text.
No, but that's something I think. But what's the problem in this table?
It's not means every time count equal to 0 is being. It's not remembering the state.
It is because the counter value right now, it's a primitive data type. Even though the counter is value a part of a slot table, some kind of basic primitive data, but it is not a part of a composition tree. It is not a part of composition hierarchy where it is telling that okay, I am a part of a composition hierarchy and I need to be updated over there also, right? So what I will do, rather than creating as a primitive data type, I'll create it as a state. I'll create it as a state. State is nothing but a wrapper. State is nothing but a wrapper to your value. That's all, nothing else. Is this fine for you? Right, now the compiler is saying that hey, you can't use the mutable state directly, right? You can't use this mutable state directly. So what you can do, there's a thing called remember. Please wrap your content inside me, inside remember. Now you can see one more thing. Now it's a wrapper, so inside a wrapper you need to extract the value. You need to extract the value out of it, right? So I just extracted the value over here. I'll extract the value here as well. I'll extract the value here as well, right? So now if we give a try, let's see. Now if I give a try, it is increasing, right? Means what is happening in the slot table? Inside my slot table now, whenever my button click is happening, there is a node of a counter whose value, who is basically a state, which composition tree has been remembered. That okay, this value I'll keep an extra cache kind of thing. I'll keep it as a value 0. Sorry, I'll keep a separate cache over as a 0. Now whenever the button is increasing, button increase, value update 1, button increase, value updated 2, and then this text is now not dependent on that particular counter primitive data type. Now it is dependent on that cache, that cache system who is created by composition tree itself. That's why it says that okay, the value has been changed to 2, and then this table is a dirty slot. Now did you remember the dirty slot? This is going to be dirty slot, and then it has to update it, and then this part is been updating with the new value, and then your UI is updating and coming on the screen. Is this okay for now? Like, did you understand this part? Okay, now there's one more thing. Then one more thing about the composition tree we keep talking about, right? Let me run this thing again. So we can see the composition tree over here, right? You can see a small magnifying glass icon over here. You will also get the same in your Android Studio. Click on this, you will get this tree structure. So right now I have a home screen. Inside we have a top app bar, we have the floating action button, these kind of stuff. Right now we are focusing on the home screen as well, right? Inside my home screen I have a column, I have a text, I have a button, and inside the button I have a text, right? Now from your understanding, whatever you have understand so far in this 2 hour about the slot table, gap buffer, and whatever we are telling that okay, this is how the data is updating, cache and everything. If I click on the button, who is going to recompose? Column, text, button, or this text? Who is going to recompose?
Text.
Anyone? This text only?
Yes.
Nothing else?
Ideally, it should be text, but I think
The composable function.
Nothing else will going to recompose from this section?
I think the composable function, the whole composable function will be recomposed.
No, whole will not. Okay, let's see.
Whichever composable the state is on.
Let's see. I click over here. So the darker one are the people who recomposes, and the lighter one who skip the recomposition. I'll quickly show you the skipping the recomposition as well. So let's say again I have a button, I have some gaps over here, I have a data, button click, text updated, data changed, the sync data has been changed, this value gets updated, this value gets updated with the new data, but the button is not going to update. So whichever the item which is not affected from that particular content, from that particular data, that particular component is not going to recompose, because that data is not connected with that component, right? So that it's not going to recompose. But let's see one more thing. I'm clicking over here, but my button is also getting recomposed. My text is updating, that is correct, because 5 times I clicked, 5 times it get recomposed, 6 times I clicked, the value is 6, 6 times it is getting recomposed. But why my button has been recomposed for 11 times? That's the question. Why?
It's including text, right? Text and button.
The animation.
No, there is
No.
there is
Because
no
they are
text,
sharing the
right?
count.
That text has nothing to do with that text. Both the texts are different.
So they're sharing the count, which is remembered in the slot.
No.
The click action on touch, and when you leave that click.
Correct. So whenever I am clicking on it, the state of the button has been changed internally. The color
This
has
is
been changed.
reactive.
Right. So now you have an understanding. Now you have a two understanding. One, the data which is given by user, if that is changing, then the recomposition will happen. Also, if any kind of data has been changed which is from the internal state, that's also going to be considered in a recomposition, because the user has interacted with that, or somehow any internal state has been changed, right? Okay, I'll quickly take 1 minute over here. Also, if you want to take just 1 minute. Okay, I'll quickly check the chat section. I think you guys are only talking to each other, but it's completely fine. It's good, man. It's good. Okay, so now that we have an understanding, I think someone is, yeah, Arvinder.
So here, why is the column not recomposing? No bold letter in front of it.
This column,
Yes.
why it should recompose? Is there any data changing for it?
Same reason the home screen is recomposing. Something inside it is changing, right?
No, this home screen, because of the, just a sec. So it is like the function calling thing. It's not for the function. It's a calling, like how many times it's been called. Recomposition is the only for the specific components. The component has been recomposed on the screen, but this is more of this home screen. This is the function name, right? So that many times it get called.
Okay.
So column, there is no data in the column which will change, right? So column will not recompose because it has nothing. There is no state of it. There is no thing which has column, which is like it is getting changed. It is the particular component which is holding that particular data which needs to be changed. Okay. I'll quickly go to
So Akshay,
yes, Manish.
so the number of the recomposition of the text and the column will always be the same.
The number of the recomposition of a column,
Sorry, text and the home screen.
text and the home screen. Right now the same is because that many times the particular function is getting called. If I can show you like this, so I click on a button, the execution approach, right? Let's do one thing. I'll put logs in everywhere so that you can see composition, or maybe it is going to take a lot of time. I'll quickly explain in this way. Your execution comes here, right? User click, the value has been increased, and as soon as the value has been increased, right, compose internally recursively call this function home screen. Is this good? Right?
Got it.
So it calls the function, and then our whole execution starts again. Column, nothing changed. Modifier, no change. Value, no change. Already remembered. So we already have the value, nothing to recompose. It comes here and it sees, okay, this value has been changed, so we need to update this particular component. So it recomposes this component, and then it starts going below again. So it's like a recursive. That's why I said earlier, like recursive function, right? It's a recursive. Yes, Aurav?
Do these recomposition like take a toll on the overall system? Like, do we try to optimize them?
Yes, there are ways on how to optimize those kind of things. We'll be seeing in other sessions, like how we can optimize, how we should optimize, what all things should recompose, what all things should not recompose, how to manage, how to make the recomposition like less, and only when it is required, right? So those are the things we'll see later in the classes. Okay, so now that we have understand the remember, right, the purpose of the remember, now you all have understand like why do we really need remember. If I don't do remember, the composition tree is not going to remember my data, and it is never going to be the recompose whole thing, and nothing will be there, everything will be stale, right? Remember key mechanism, if I can quickly show you like this. Yes, Harsh.
So, just one question. In case of activity getting recreated or orientation change of a phone, then will the data be persisted?
It depends on how we are using. There are like a lot of remember. Surely it's not going to do. But again, if there is another thing, if there is any like things like remember saveable, or is there any other strategy we are following, then we need to do. Compose is not going to do by itself. That's the idea.
Okay, so that's a separate term, like
Concept.
remember savable.
Correct, right.
Eventually.
That's a complete topic, different topic which we need to take care of. Compose is not going to do for us. Okay, coming to the remember part. So right now there is one way of remembering thing is remember, and the second part which Harsh already told, that there is a thing called remember saveable, which you generally use whenever you want to save things, because for the orientation change as well. Now even if you change the orientation in this with this, your counter value will be persisted. That's the one thing. But there's one more thing in the remember has a different what we can say, method overloading maybe, or whatever you generally say, that there are like different type of methods which are different parameters, like key, 1 key, 2 key, 3 key, and lot of other vargs, right? Now the whole idea it is saying, right now what is happening, whenever you change the data, this value is not going to recreate it again, right? So you click on the counter, your execution coming over here, and it says that okay, we already have this remembered data, let's move ahead, right? Let's move ahead. But now I am saying that I want to do something that when it is going to come in this recomposition manner, then this line of execution should happen again and again, right? Something happen, right? So that's where I am going to use a key. That's where I'm going to use some kind of key, let's say a counter one, that whenever let's say if I have a 2 counter in a single function, then I can say that okay, only when the counter 1 is changing, then only you do this type of functions, right? We'll see these things later in the code, but right now I just give you a glimpse of it, right? What is the key? Why do we need a key, right? All we want, like I put a key, and whenever the key changes, then only we perform something. That's the whole idea of it, right? If I can show you. Okay, there's one more diagram. State change, right? State change, counter value changed, compose runtime, your basically username, just an example with a username. Your slot get affected. Your slots are getting dirty, right? Your dirty slots are there. And then you have a username. Just like a counter or remember, and it is saying that okay, you have a key something, so because you are telling me that this is your key, I'll update that particular data, right? I'll update that name as a text, right? So and then there is another text. If what we can do, if I can create another text over here which has nothing to do with the counter value, I can say random text, then this function is not going to recompose because this has nothing to do with the counter, right? This is not going to recompose. So that's where this hard-coded data over here will always get skipped. It's not going to update because no changes over there. And similarly for your button as well, right? So that's how your only slot 1 and 2 are going to recompose. Only the affected parts are going to recompose, right? And that's where this is how a basic tree structure, this diagram is saying, right? Now if we come to the remember, I think I can show you over here. Okay, now this whole remember thing which we just learned, I'm just showing in this key diagram as well. So now you can put a lot of keys, right? You can already see I already show you the functions, right? Key 1, key 2, key 3 and a lot of other keys. So whenever, let's say if key 1 is changing, not if key 2 is changing, yes, or if something has been changed, then return that particular thing, right? If value is not changing, invalid, false, no, don't do any kind of cache. So based on that true and false, if that key is changed or not changed, we'll do the caching internally, right? The compose and this remember internally do the caching. Somehow it is saved those value. Now whatever value they are saving, are those correct or not? If they need to let's say the counter has been increased. If the counter has been increased and they are remembering the counter, they need to plus 1 internally as well. So that they can make sure, okay, this is the value. So based on that, they internally recalculate the value, they remember the value, and then the whole observer and then everything like that, right? Your they are internally observing, okay, the counter value has been changed, we need to update the text. The counter value has been changed, we need to update whichever component has these counter values. So they do all this observing thing and insert the table and all those things. All this diagram is just saying whatever we have learned right now, right? This the complete structure we learned over here, where it is, right? Over here, right? So that is the same diagram we have over here, right? Now, which is this? The same thing, this one also. Whenever your state is getting changed, getting changed, compose internally see the slot table, right? Compose internally see, okay, what all parts of the slot table are affected, basically dirty slots, right? If there is no change, then the complete UI is going to be skipped, and then the UI has been rendered on the screen already, and then it is done. But if anything has been changed, Strog is too big, man. But if anything has been changed, we need to mark the recomposition. We need to see the structure. Stable data is basically like what all the things needs to be changed, what all things not to be changed, and they update the value. So it's like, is there any kind of like a remember key or not key? We'll be talking about those tail things as well. But yeah, caching and then the UI is going to happen. All these things are same whatever we have discussed, right? How things are like changing. Now I can quickly go back over here. Slot based caching, changed caching mechanism is something we can skip for now. It's completely fine, right? We see the mutable states, like how we have created the mutable. We see the state read and write kind of thing, right? How we are reading, counter dot value. How we are writing, counter dot value. Why dot value? Because this is the wrapper. Mutable state of this is the wrapper. We have seen that this is the wrapper. That's why we are seeing read and writing mechanism, right? Invalidation, state driven UI. This is a state driven UI. Now that you are are you able to understand a declarative UI meaning? A meaning of declarative UI. We declare the counter value, and based on the declaration, our UI is getting created automatically. We are not telling to hide anything or to do anything or those kind of things, right? So based on that UI is getting created. That's a declarative thing, right? So we did this thing. We understand, we triggered the recomposition, We created a remember, and then only the recomposition is getting triggered, right? So we triggered the recomposition. We see how compose is getting unskipped. We like skipping part. We see the unnecessary skipping, right? If this is what is the let me show you only, right? Okay, now I see these things. I see the structure again. Home top app bar, home screen. I'll close this one. I'll keep this open. We have two texts. I'll click. This text is never going to recompose. It's always getting skipped. So that's why we are skipping the unnecessary recomposition. This is not automatically getting skipped, right? Subtree recomposition is behavior. It's basically like subtree only. This is the whole tree. A part of tree is getting recomposed. Nothing else. Floating action button, home tab app bar, those are the things, has nothing to do with it, right? So the sub tab bar, recomposition counter demo already done. I have shown you. Live coding, simple counter, these are the things. I think we are up with most of the time, but I'll quickly show you our home screen, like what we have created and what are the things you can start working from today or maybe tomorrow, whichever sounds good to you. And I'll also again just few tips or few points I'll keep adding always whenever you are coding in the Android Studio. Please keep the project view, don't go for the Android view. It's just like, it's not too interesting, man. It's really showing a lot of less files and maybe you missed a lot of things, right? So always go for a project view and just try to see things. Okay, now the home screen, let me remove this part. Inside the home screen, basically let me go component by component, right? I'll go you component by component. So the very first thing is I created a progress bar basically, right? The skill card, just for the skill card, we have created this progress bars. Right? Now, where's the progress bar? Just a box. It's just a box. Inside that box, I have created another box. Even though there is a progress bar available, a direct component by compose, but right, we can give a try and see how things are working, right? So this is what, if I can zoom in, right? So there's a longer box, a parent box, and inside that parent box, I'm creating another box which will show me that okay, this is what a level of progress you have been filled, and then I have played with the, what we can say, shapes with this rounded corners and not rounded corners over here and the rounded corners at the end, right? So this is what component we have created. So that's one component progress bar. The another thing is skill card. I can show you. So I created a multiple previews over here so that you can see how it is going to look like. One skill card is like this, another is like if you have a longer text, then this is your ellipses, how a longer text with the ellipses looks like, right? If there is no progress bar, then how it is going to look like. If the progress bar is complete, how it is going to look like. So I just created a different previews over here. Even you, if you want, you can create a different previews. How we are creating previews? With the preview annotations, calling the same composable function inside the preview functions. So this is what is happening over here, right? Different preview functions on different these stuff. Just give me a sec. हेलो, हाँ बताओ। अभी मैं और आदर्श तो इधर ही हैं, ये मैं बस क्लास कंप्लीट करके अब जाऊंगा, बाकी दोनों उधर ही हैं। हाँ अभी बस ये एंटी खा के और दवाई पीनी और फिर हो गया काम। वो सब तो हो गया ना दिन में। हाँ एंटीबायोटिक पी ली तो हो गई। Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so we have the skill card function, right? Now the if I can show you like how we are created. Now you can say understanding is in like how we have created the skill card with all those column, row, boxes and all, right? Don't worry about these card containers and everything right now, just a basic stuff for now. If you understand, we have a column, right? Now you can see see the highlighted things, right? We have a column, right? Inside the column we have another column. Inside the column we have created another column, which basically might not required, but another column. There's another row. Inside that row we have one text, we have one image, right? You are following the highlighted. Are you able to follow the highlighted thing, right? There's a text over here, this much size. There's an image, which is basically an image, right? There's a spacer we have created. There's another component called spacer. Even though you can use a padding over here, right? A padding over here, but I have used a spacer thing. We will be discussing this as well, like why we created the spacer. But yeah, a spacer just for the spacing thing. Then we created another row. Inside that row I just put two things, image and text, and again some space we have given over here, right? And then there's another column. There's another column which we have created, where we have created one row. Inside that row there is a thing called progress, and there's a thing called percentage, right? Right now no one is showing the percentage, but yeah, a percentage is like, let's say 100%, right? Maybe if someone is going to recompose and show, this is not a recomposition, it's just a preview stuff. But yeah, percentage in front of progress bar, that's one thing. After that we have a progress bar over here, right? So this is how we created a basic skill card. Now this skill card can be optimized a lot, because some places I have created extra column, right? Might not require, right? Some places I have created some random hard code data which can be come from outside as well. So that way, what I would suggest, just like your coding interview, day-to-day daily coding, DSA coding interview, create whatever you can create once, and then after think of how we can optimize the structure one by one, and then you can see your created tree structure, that is it really best you can go for, or can you optimize the tree structure more, right? So that is something you can create, right? So someone is asking that nesting containers affect performance in it does like in XML or not. I would say right now I would say maybe, because the way why it is affecting in the XML is because of the lot of measuring issues, right? That's the one thing which is happening over here. But now the over here it's more of like a tree structure when it is coming to the composition tree as well, when it's going to render. So it might not affect a nesting too much nesting things over here, but I will confirm this thing tomorrow to you, that why it is not that much issue as we used to have in the XML, right? So it will be like really less, someone is saying. Yes. So skill card component, progress component, right? A top app bar. Again, a top app bar is something like there's no preview. Okay, no worries. If there's no preview, can I create a preview of it? Let me just give it a try for now. A preview is basically a composable function of this. Can we have a preview? We have a preview over here, right? We have a preview of the top app bar. Now what is there in the top app bar? A column which have two text, one and this, and then there is some kind of a row which has some buttons, inside, like icon button and then an image. So basically like a image button kind of thing, right? So this is what a top app bar we created, right? Then there is another floating action button. Just a floating action button is just like a button with an image, or maybe you can create a box and then some image on top of it. So that's also one thing, right? Skill card progress has been done, and then the home screen, right? And then the home screen. Now what is like a home screen is going to be like this: your top app bar, a list of your skill cards, your a bottom floating action button or something like, and then if you want to create a bottom navigation, bottom bar, it's completely fine. I can quickly show you that main activity as well, right? Main activity, where are scaffold and what all things the scaffold is asking for. Scaffold, where it is? Scaffold is asking, can you tell me your top app bar? Can you tell me a bottom app bar? Floating action button, snack bar, container color, content color. These are the things it is asking for, right? You can design your bottom bar over here. You can design your top app bar over here. in whichever way you want, and then it will automatically come on the screen, right? There's one more thing we left, the default files. All your colors will go in color.kt file. Say just like a resource file you used to have in the XML days, there will be a color kt file. Keep all your colors over here in the this format. What is this format? Anyone? A basic question. Hexadecimal, right? Okay, hexadecimal function, the format, right? So this is your color file, right? You can even create a dimension file. You can put all your dimensions over here, whichever way you want, right? What's it? Just a variables with your dp, and then you can use these dimensions wherever you want. You can have your typographies file as well, right? Just if you want to use your font file, custom font file, create a font family over here, and then use your typography. This is basically a typography where we are overwriting the data with the material design, right? Material design, we are just overriding, we are using the typography function, typography class of a material design, and then telling him that your display large should be changed with our font style, with this font style where we have our own family, inter font family which we have created. So basically we are overwriting the default value of display large material by our font files, by our font family, right? So this is how you can use your even custom font files, right? So that's the one thing. You have a theme file where you can manage your complete theme, just like you have your styles.xml file, right? Similarly, we have this theme, masterly theme, which is by default a project name and a theme over here, and then your dark theme, light theme, whatever, all the logics over here, and then your theme is like color scheme and your typography, whatever typography you are using, and then your content. Now you can see things over here in the set content. When you are creating compose for the very first time, you are using this theme, which is there created in the theme file, which is created over here, and that function is asking for composable function. No column, no row scope, column scope over here, right? Just a composable it is asking for, and then we are passing our complete stuff over inside this particular theme. So that way our whole compose UI is going to use under this theme, where it is going to use all those color scheme and typographies and dimensions and everything, right? So this is how our default values, our home screen, our top web bar, and everything has been coming up. Let me quickly check if we missed anything. Yeah, so counter application, debugger, recomposition, observer, slot, behavior, memory, rental. Okay, so this is all I think I have for. Yes, Pankaj. Hello, Pankaj.
Yeah, hi, Axel. What about surface and scaffold differentiate?
Okay, so scaffold you get an understanding, because scaffold has a lot of things, right? Top web bar, it's a template. It's a template basically, right? Now, if we are talking about the surface is more of like what we can say. It has nothing to do with the row column box. It is just telling you that if you want to create, if you want a template which can help you with the shapes, which can help you with the colors, content colors, tonal elevation, shadow, and all these kind of things, that's where you are going to create a surface. Your column doesn't have these kind of parameters, right? Your row doesn't have, your boxes doesn't have. But if you want some place where you want to just create some kind of a behavior where you need all these kind of parameters, that's where you use this template. So that's where this way you can see a lot of other templates as well.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
So coming back to over here, so we have covered a lot of topics over here, right? Now for today, I think I have taken 30 more minutes. So in the similarly way, I'll be taking 30 or 40 more minutes daily basis, so that we can try to cover more things. But for today, we have learned things. We have learned all these things, right? And I'm hoping that some of you have learned very new things, and just give it a try. I'll be sharing you all these things soon, right? Once this session I'll end, I will be extracting this recording as well. I'll confirm if my voice has been recorded, I hopefully, and I'll be posting I'll be sending you all. So please wait till tomorrow evening for this video recording thing, and I'll need some time on this thing as well because of the internet issue and speed and everything. But yeah, and also whatever you like today, dislike today, feel free to do let me know. And also there's one more thing. If any one of you are keep looking for like a job, or a in a job hunting way, and maybe like there are like a lot of people who keep posting on LinkedIn, so do keep posting on LinkedIn, tag me, tell me anything you learned or liked or anything. I'll try to connect with you with couple of my referrals which can help you with the interviews and all. So yeah, kind of like a community stuff. So again, now if you have any questions, I'll think we can wrap over here. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. If you want, we can go on a one-on-one call as well. If it is not, if you think that the answer is not answerable on a chat, we can go on a one-on-one call as well. But yeah, we'll not take more time over here, and we can go for a one-on-one chat or a one-on-one call if we have any questions. So yeah, we can do a good night for today. Thank you everyone. I think just that's all I think I have from my side.
Can we get the Figma file for this thing?
There's no Figma and anything I have created. This is just a couple of screenshots which it's been like before 1 year I have created using some kind of AI or something, right? So that's why I kept in more like create whichever way you want. Create with your own styles. It's completely up to you.
Akshay, are you gonna send the form email so that we can provide our details for the Git repo access and other stuff?
Yes, I will be sending some kind of like a form in the WhatsApp group so that you can keep and adding your this GitHub handles. Yes.
Yeah, Akshay, is there any WhatsApp group for this?
Yes, we do have a WhatsApp group. Did you get the welcome email?
No, let me check.
Everyone get the welcome email. There's all the WhatsApp group links and all the links and everything. All the details were there.
Okay.
Cool. And make sure if anyone has shared any kind of link in the chat section, once this meeting gets over, all the links and everything will be removed, right? So make sure you added that in the WhatsApp group. So I'll not quickly leave this. I'll make sure we have all the links in the group. If anyone can please help us in this, I'll quickly see. But yeah, for others, thanks for joining this today's session, and I hope you will complete this project. And yeah, thanks for joining, and I hope you will learn something really new or will be really helpful. So yeah, thank you everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.